Dr. Armin Henderson is outside his home loading up his van with supplies. Supplies he is using to give free COVID-19 tests to homeless people in Miami. Then a police officer approaches the doctor. According to Dr. Henderson, the officer questions him about littering on the street. More words are exchanged. And as the doctor walks away to continue loading the van, the officer follows him and asks to see his identification, which Dr. Henderson does not have with him. Dr. Henderson is then handcuffed. At this point, he calls for his wife inside their home. The officer brings Dr. Henderson across the street and, standing inches away without wearing a mask, starts pointing his finger and speaking to the doctor face to face. Moments later, the doctor's wife appears to find out what is going on, and as she goes back inside to get his identification, the officer uncuffs the doctor. After this video went viral, the police chief of Miami issued a statement.
We have had a litany of complaints pertaining to illegal dumping. The commissioner from that area has received many complaints as well from the constituents. There is a cargo van that's parked in front of that home where there appears to be trash that's being offloaded. That is the genesis of the stop. I hope this helps, and as soon as we have more information and we have the ability to forward that information to you, we will. Thank you.
What happened here? Lieutenant Colonel Adam Lee, what happened here?
That's a question. That's a big question, Vinny. This doctor seems to be a good Samaritan. He's doing something really good for the community, especially in this time when most homeless folks are not being able to get medical attention due to this coronavirus. But apparently, he was breaking the law. It looks like he was dumping. He was throwing things away, not in the place where they should be. And I don't know if there was an investigation or the officer just stumbled upon it. But either way, he probably at the end of the day broke the law as far as the dumping is concerned.
I think it's the other way around, though, Lieutenant Colonel. Vince, what the doctor's saying is he's loading his van, getting ready to help some homeless folks. He's got a tent and other items that he brings when he's testing these homeless folks. He was profiled in the local paper down in Miami. I mean, even if you are, let's say, even if you suspect that he's dumped, why would you handcuff him?
Great point. That exactly is the crux of my argument to this. I'm not saying the stop was wrong. If he's legitimately investigating a complaint of people dumping trash and he sees a person in a van and there's trash on the ground, he may not have known whether he was putting things in the van or taking stuff out and dumping it. If you look at the video closely, what you're going to see is he asked for his ID, and as the doctor walks away, that's the classic case of, I'm only going to tell you one more time to show me your ID. And when he walked away in defiance, the officer pulls him over, handcuffs him, points in his face, berates him. But the most important thing about this whole video is the question is, one, why did you handcuff him? But more importantly, why did you unhandcuff him if you still haven't identified him? If you look at the video closely, his wife comes out, something's said, she goes inside before she even comes out with his ID, he uncuffs him. So what was the purpose of cuffing him? If you haven't identified him yet, why are you uncuffing him? I think Chief Kalina is going to do a good job. I know his reputation in Miami. I like that he came out publicly and put a video out to address this to the public. I hope the investigation reveals that, if you're going to handcuff somebody, you have to have articulable facts and circumstances to back that up. That's what the main question is.
Yeah, I think
Lieutenant Colonel, one more part of this but let me just ask you this. The officer's got no mask on, and he's face-to-face, inches away, and the description that I heard from the doctor in an interview he did with someone else was that he could kind of feel like the droplets of spit coming out of the doctor's mouth. And this is a doctor who's trying to save lives. And that's the other part of this that really, really bothers me, is why you got to turn him around face to face, inches from him, pointing your finger, and obviously there's no sound. We don't know what's being said. But was that part necessary, too, to do it that way in the day of that we're living now?
Unfortunately, there may have been some profiling going here. And to Vinny's point, that may be why he unhandcuffed him after it was known that this was a professional, this was a doctor. He may have thought this man was some street person. Like I said, it may have been a profiling situation up until that point. And as you said, this is not the time for police officers to be taking chances like that. He certainly should have been wearing a mask.
Vince, as you look at this, and there's going to be an investigation, what if it comes down to the fact of, and these again are the allegations of the doctor, don't know, wasn't there, didn't hear it, but in his other interview he said the officer was upset because he didn't call him sir or sergeant.
Well, I couldn't really tell whether the officer was wearing body cam and if that footage is going to be available. If it is, or even if the dash cam footage is running in the car, that records audio. His window is down, I believe. So you may pick up some of that. So the investigation may reveal exactly what was said. As a citizen, we are not required to call a police officer sir or by rank. In fact, it's more the opposite. By policy, police officers are more inclined to refer to citizens as sir or ma'am or doctor or whatever your title may be. This is a classic case of, basically verbal judo. Like this thing, it didn't even start the way any encounter should. This thing went south before he even got out of the car. So I hope this investigation has audio and we can really hear what that whole, verbal altercation was. But in my opinion, it really boils down to, I'm only going to tell you one more time to show me your ID. And when he turns around, well, I'm going to show you who's in charge right now. The fact that he unhandcuffed him is the most disturbing part for me. Like, you don't know who he is. If the whole purpose of you handcuffing him is to detain him until you can identify him, you unhandcuffed him. You still don't know who he is.
Right.
Problem.
Yeah, he doesn't know until his wife brings out the ID at the end, and it hadn't happened at that point.
And that's
all right.
That's when he got some respect.
I'm still going to call you Lieutenant Colonel, though. But Vince, I'm not going to call you sir. Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm going to call you Vince because I love the name. All right.
Hey, listen, Adam next, Lee was my boss back in the day.
So you have to call him sir. Absolutely.